Welcome to For the Record. On this program, we talk about issues and events that are happening in Sudbury. Today, I have with me some visitors from the Soviet Union. You're going to hear me talking a little slower than usual today, partly because I've had the pleasure of being in a foreign country trying to understand what people are saying to me. So, as a courtesy to our visitors, who will also be dealing in a foreign language, we're going to take our time today. I want to welcome you both to America, to Lincoln Sudbury, and to our town. And as I understand it, you are both high school teachers back at home in the Soviet Union. What do you teach there? Are you specializing in a particular subject, or do you teach a variety of subjects? Maybe
Our school is an English language school, and both of us are English teachers. We teach students the English language.
How did this trip come about? Did the two of you plan this? How did it get started?
Now, we planned this trip last year, and our relationship with Sudbury Lincoln School began a year ago. In April last year, in 1988, a group of American students from Lincoln Sudbury with sharing a new song chorus came to our city, to Yaroslavl. Yaroslavl is an ancient city on the Volga River. And the students of our school hosted Lincoln Sudbury school students, and both of them became great friends, American kids and Soviet kids. And they hosted them in their homes too. And it was the the greatest impression of American children in the Soviet Union, as they said about that.
Well, sometimes we learn things about each other one-to-one, which is the best way of learning about them. But I see now that you have behind us some pictures of your town, Yaroslavl. Do you want to point out some of the points of interest to me?
Well, I can, sure. Well, here you can see a church of Epiphany, or we call it Epiphany Church. It's in the center of our city. Really, it's beautiful. And all the churches, they date back to 17th century, most of them. Well, really, we have a lot of them. Well, you can see them just here on the Volga embankment. And the people who do try to preserve churches. Well, they do care about culture, about traditions. Well, about the spirit of an old Russian city, because Yaroslavl is really old and, well, has a lot of traditions that are really good. So we do love our city, and we welcome, well, Americans come to our city, well, visit it, well, and to enjoy it. Yes.
Well, give me a little bit better feeling for the geography of Yaroslavl. Now, I visited Moscow, Leningrad, Kiev, and Sochi. Let's pick it up from Moscow. Where would I be? Would I be north or east?
Well, as a matter of fact, it's northeast. Well, not far from Moscow, and it takes, well, about 4 hours by train to get to Yaroslavl from Moscow, and the same period of time back. Well, so that's center, we can say that's the center of Russia. Yes, really it is.
So if you visited the capital, you would be able to have the opportunity to go up to visit Yaroslavl.
Yes, right, you are, right.
The Soviet republics being so spread out, being as large as they are, I wanted to get a feel for just where you were on this. And I notice you do have all of your old buildings intact from what I see here. So you must make an effort then to keep your old traditions going.
Yes.
I was interested in the poster behind you, which is a Russian samovar, is it not?
Yes, it's a Russian samovar. Now, it's just a symbol of Russian traditions. And this poster was made by one of our students. now while preparing for the trip to the United States. So they try to make to do their best to show Russia, to show our traditions here in the United States. So, and these are the symbols of our friendship here, of the United States and the Soviet Union. So, and it's written here, we must live in peace. Let's live in peace.
This is the translation.
Нам жить в мире.
Okay.
Yes, we'll live in peace.
Right, and you see Russians, they do like to sit and drink tea just over the samovar. Well, that's a good tradition, so that's why we invite Americans and Russian people just to sit together, drink tea, to speak, to understand each other better. Yes, that's the symbol of this post.
Well, let me tell you, because you have brought up the words mir was peace, and druzhba, am I saying it correctly?
Druzhba.
Is friendship.
Friendship.
Okay. I'll tell you how I learned those two words. It was on the metro system, the subway in Moscow. I traveled with my sister, and on the train, we had been brought to the different stations because some of them have very lovely decoration in them, statues, mosaics on the wall.
Yes.
I sat beside this old woman who was wearing her babushka. And she had a bag of vegetables beside her, which she moved over for us to sit down. And she heard us talking English, my sister and I. She started talking Soviet Russian to us. And of course, as you know, when someone talks to you in a language you don't know, you smile a lot, don't you? So she got a little bit agitated that we did not know what she was saying. And the guide came over to us, and she said, mir, druzhba. So the guide said, that means peace and friendship. And then she translated the rest of it to us and said, I want you to go home and tell your people that the Russian people want peace and friendship. And I have never forgotten that old woman on the train. So I am especially happy to welcome you over here now, because I know you're carrying that same message back to us in the posters that your students have put together for us. Now, tell me a little bit about how you chose the students that came here.
We have these are the 10th grade students, and so just we can say that their friends just chose them to go to the United States.
So they already knew each other before they came to
Yes,
visit
some
us.
of them knew,
Yes.
right.
Uh-huh.
And yes, you see, you always have people who are more active or less active. Well, the students who are here, they are really active, and they are, they are interested in the States, in the United States of America, in its culture, traditions. So that's why they're here. And the other reason, well, they just, they want to make as a lot of friends as possible here in the States. Well,
They consider themselves to be children's diplomats.
Okay,
Yes.
we might call them
We might
student
call them.
ambassadors. Yes, is how we think of them.
So all of us and the students understand that. So the more we learn about each other, so the less there is. So the less is the possibility of the disaster of the world. Yes,
Of course.
So and I think that children can communicate easier and better than adults. They can
Yes,
find more common.
Well, they haven't had a chance to be contaminated, probably by some ideas of the past. In a moment now, we're going to introduce you to a couple of the students that have come over here. We'll be right back.
Getting into drugs and being high is a stupid thing to do. Be unoriginal and take a stand. You're free to say no. Don't let a friend push you in to taking drugs. You got a right to say no.
We're going to talk now to 3 of the Soviet students who have come here to visit us at Lincoln Sudbury. Now, one of the things I noticed when I saw you in a group at the library was that I could not distinguish you from our students. You all looked alike to me. I didn't notice that you were dressed particularly differently. So to me, you're just another bunch of kids, I guess, from another country. So I'm going to have you introduce yourselves, and I will start with you. If you give me your name.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Julia, but in Russian it is Yulia Kalenkova. Well, I live with my family, so if you want to know who's my parents.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, so my parents, my mom, she's a professor of chemistry, and my dad, he's a businessman now. What else? I'm studying. It's my last year at school, so I'm a 10th grade student. Well, I'm fond of sport, music, etc. So I think that's all.
Okay, and we'll go on to you now.
My name is Alexei. I'm a student of the school number 4, Nekrasov Secondary School in Yaroslavl. I'm the last grade at 2. My parents, both my parents are doctors, and my sister, she's going to become a doctor too. But I don't want to be a doctor. I think I will work in the sphere of foreign languages. I'm fond of sports. I like to play basketball, volleyball. I like mostly all kinds of music, modern classics. And that's all.
That was quite enough. You've decided you have enough doctors in the family, so you're going to go into languages. Okay.
Right.
Okay, my name is Luba. The full name is Lyubov. I am from Yaroslav too. I am a student of the 10th grade of Nekrasov High School. I want to be a doctor. Both of my parents are doctors too. I have 2 brothers. One of them is married, and he had 2 children.
Now, I understand, and let me start back with you, Luba. Am I saying it right? You were one of the students who hosted a Lincoln Sudbury student when they visited the Soviet Union. Can you tell me some of the impressions that you may have had?
I liked my trip very much, and I want to say that I think that it's very wonderful that we have a chance to go to the United States. And I want also say that I knew something about your country, because not long ago my close friend went to your country, and she told a lot about this country.
So you knew what to expect, maybe a little bit more than someone else would. Now, how about you, Alexa? What were some of your thoughts before coming over here?
Before coming here, I thought that America has much more skyscrapers than it does in reality. And but you see, mass media give us mostly full information about the foreign life, and we knew most of the facts that we saw here in America. It wasn't very surprising, but of course mass media can't give everything, all information, and there were some facts that were unexpected. I love this trip very much.
Well, one of the things nobody can tell us about is about the people we're going to meet. Everybody is quite different, and some of them are going to be very friendly. Some of them are going to probably just keep right on walking. What were some of the thoughts you had when you first arrived over here?
My impressions, first of all. I'm pleasantly impressed from the first steps in that country. And we have a Russian verb. It's better to see only and than to hear many times. So I prefer to see the country. And about your question?
Well, let's go a little bit into some of the differences we may have in our schools. You have probably noticed that we have students who pass from class to class, have different subjects that they choose that we call electives. Are there differences with the way classes are conducted with you? Do you also choose electives like we do? And I feel a little no over here. Maybe we can start with you, Luba.
Yeah, we know that you have a right to choose your subjects, but in our country we have no right to choose the subjects, and all pupils have the same subjects in the same grade.
In my opinion, when I first came to this school, this was the most thing which I was shaken by. Was that here are no bells in our school. The end of the lesson, the beginning of the lesson is marked by the ringing of the bell, but here there is no any ringing, and this is very unusual.
Well, if it comforts you any, when I grew up, we had the bells ringing. So that's relatively new.
Wow, and I want to add. Usually we have lessons of 45 minutes, and you have of 50 minutes. And the interval, usually you have 5 minutes for the interval between the lessons, and we usually have between the first and the second classes, we usually have 5 minutes. After the second and the third, we have 10 minutes. And for Raj, we usually have for 15 minutes. So it's a difference.
Now, do you go from class to class, or do you stay in your classroom?
Yes, we do go from class to
You
class.
do just as we do, go from class to class over here, too. Is your day as long, or maybe as short as what I might be saying, as ours? How long a school day do you have? Do you start at 9 o'clock in the morning? Do you start at 8 o'clock in the morning?
We start at 8:30.
And you go for how long?
Well, up to
2 o'clock, yes.
All right. Now, I noticed you said that you were in the 10th grade. Are you telling me that there are 10 years of school in Russia versus our 12 years?
Yes.
We go 12 years and you go 10. Then if you're going to, you go on to, I'm going to say higher education or
institute
college.
or university in the Soviet Union.
When you decide to go to the institute, how are you chosen to go? Do you take an exam?
Yes, we must pass a number of exams in order to become a student. I want to be a doctor, and that's why I shall pass chemistry, biology, and literature.
I want to be a physician too.
All right, so when you decide what it is you're going to pursue, that's what determines the courses you take. That's why you say to me that you don't really have a choice, but it is chosen for you depending on what you say you're going to pursue after you get out of the 10th grade. Now, in your job, though, you may not be staying in the Soviet Union. Is that part of why you would be studying languages?
Probably.
Well, let me move you out of the classroom and take you into some of the things you may have seen outside in the cities. Then, Julie, is it? Julia. Okay, let me start with you, Julia. Some of the things that you might have seen coming in. I understand you came through New York, but didn't really stay there. You pretty much came on through to Boston. Have you been into the city?
Yeah. So we were in Sudbury. We were in Boston. What else? We were in the Museum of Fine Arts, and I like it very much because usually I like museums. What else? We were in Gloucester.
Okay.
It's on the edge of the ocean. It was very exciting trip. Wow, what else? We were in the Longfellow's Museum with my family, with my hostess. Wow.
We were in Concord.
Concord?
Yeah.
Yes, that's next door to us over here, where the revolution, the first shots of the revolution were fired.
What else?
She told about Museum of Fine Arts, and I want to add that we studied school English language, and we studied in the following way. We have some topics, oral topics on the different spheres of life, culture, sports, political life, and not long ago we studied American art. And we were studying all the painters, American painters, their paintings. And in the Museum of Fine Arts, we had an opportunity to see all of these paintings in original. That was really exciting.
Yes. Yes, it would be. When you said American art, I wasn't quite sure which direction you were going to go, because some American art is a mystery to us as well as to people who may come from another country. And I understand one of you is the artist who did this poster over here. Are you the artist who did this? What was the symbolism appears to be two pins to me, and the two doves. Which I'm sure symbolizes the same to you as it does to us. The dove symbolizes peace.
Of course.
Same interests
in
and of the same aims.
in both countries. Do you take American history in your school too, or is that might be one of the things that you choose to take?
We are studying American history, but it's not very deep studying.
Well, that's natural. How many of us have taken Soviet history in any depth? So, of course, that would be true. But let me hear a little bit about your experience with our teenagers as you see our kids being raised, and maybe are there differences in the way you're raised?
I like them very much. I think that the main treasure of different countries is their people, and I like most of the features of my adults, and I like them very much because they are very hospitable, they are very kind for us, and they try to help us when we need.
Do you find that we have more freedom? That's an impression of mine, that our kids have a lot more freedom to come and go as they please than the kids of any other country, not just the Soviet Union, of course. Is that your experience? Is that what it appears to you?
Maybe I think that we saw it in the school. Your students may laugh at the lessons, they may eat, they may even lay on the floor, and we have...
Don't tell her, we don't want to give that. Is that right? Okay, what else have you... What else have you seen them doing in our... This is in the classes or in the library or...
in classes.
Okay, well, let me tell you, that's a little revelation to me too, to hear that it's that casual over your classes. But what about some of the things that you may do outside? I remember seeing a group called the Young Pioneers, for instance, with their little red kerchiefs and their white shirts. We, of course, have things like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. But do I recall that the Young Pioneers were given special instructions or special training in politics? Is that memory correct? Or maybe I should do it differently. What do the Young Pioneers do? Why don't we...
Have the ordinary students, I think.
Okay.
If you...
But as I said, I remember them having the little red neckerchiefs and the white shirts that sort of set them apart. Yeah.
The uniform.
Yeah.
So.
I was a young pioneer.
Oh, well,
some years later.
Well, then I guess you ought to be able to tell us what you did.
The Young Pioneer League. This is just an organization of the kids who. It's hard to explain. They're just doing good things.
Well, would they go away on a camping trip, for instance?
Yeah. Some, for example.
You know, we have Boy Scouts, we have Girl Scouts, we have Cub Scouts, we have all kinds of groups that do different things. Some of them might meet for crafts. Some of them go away to summer camp because they can canoe and swim and have outdoor physical activities. So maybe what you're saying is that this may be something similar.
Yes, maybe.
To that. You know, do they have classes in different things? Would they learn something there that is not in the regular curriculum in school? Do you have, you know, I know it's not a little league sort of thing, which is our little baseball team kind of group. So I guess I'm just going to have to come up with it's a youth group, but you're having a little difficulty giving me an explanation as to the kinds of things they literally do in the group. As I said, you being a member yourself,
Yes, I did. I've been... so you want me to know, what did I do?
Well, I just wanted an idea of what they do as a group.
As what?
As a group of young
as a-
people, because they were both boys and girls, as I remember this group.
They're just trying to help to all people to organize some, how do you say, some things for other people, some good things. And they're an organization.
Was it that long ago? You don't.
Yes,
How old are you now, Alexa?
It was long ago.
Are you 17 or?
I'm 16.
You're 16 now. Okay.
Oh, usually some pioneers have a special movement for protecting nature, an example, which is,
They help each other to learn at school.
yeah.
Okay. Let me go on to something else. When all of you learn English at the school that you go to, because they call it the English school, do they?
Yeah.
And I thought it might be interesting to note that not only do you have to learn a new language, you have to learn a new alphabet. So I'm just wondering if we can get a close-up of this, and maybe you might explain a little bit. I know this is called the Cyrillic alphabet, and I'm not sure of the origin. You know, I don't even know where the word Cyrillic comes from, for instance. Would you know, do you know that? Why is it called the Cyrillic alphabet? Is this...
Cyrillic.
Yes.
There were two men. They invented this. And one of them the name of one of them was Cyrillius, I think. And
Okay, so it's named after one of the men. It's not a region of the Soviet Union, for instance?
No. It's
or
very
something like
ancient.
that.
This is very ancient.
Yes, I understand. Because I remember, to me, it would look like, over here, CCCP indicated the USSR to us. And this, I guess, is one of the books that you use, and it looks to me like it's probably for an elementary school level that you would be using a book like this over here. Are there any thoughts or messages you might want to give us? What's your last message to your new American friends? Let me start with you, Julia. And we have to make it
So,
fast.
my message. So, we're now great friends, I think. And so, what I can wish for my friend and what I can tell to them. First of all, we certainly want peace, and it's not only words. I think it comes from our hearts, from our it's our dreams, it's our inner dream, I think, and we want to be really friends, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, Alexa, you may
Yes,
give
I
some
will
on that?
continue. I think you know what is American dream.
Sure.
Every American, when he goes to school, he has American dream. He wants to get a wife, he wants to get a car, he wants to get a house, he wants to get children. And that, I think, because of that, Americans are more interested in their own affairs. And I think that Americans must be more interested in our country, in each country that is not America.
Go beyond our own borders a little bit more. Sure. How about you, Luba?
First of all, I want to say that it's very hard for me to leave my friends here. Tomorrow we shall go to Cambridge, and it's very hard to say them goodbye. And
I said already.
and I want we shall be friends for all our life. I want.
Have you made arrangements to write to each other? To write to each other, write letters to each other?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
of course.
Well, it's really been delightful talking to the three of you. I know that there were about, 14 of you who came?
Yes, 15 or 14.
I could wish that we had an opportunity to meet and talk with all of them, but you have been excellent representatives, and we
Thank
hope
you.
that you will be coming back to see us again soon, too. This is Mary Jane Hillery talking to you for The Record.